see what we got here. All right. There it is. The road to infinity. Here's my little saboteur. She's ready. She's wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to show that she can create havoc, put paw prints and fur all over this clean, white, crisp 12 by 18 sheet of paper here. All right, we're going to do a time lapse with Gemma. And we're going to turn her head around. Something a little different than the Gag Master Challenge. This is a different kind of a challenge because it's not something I do that frequently. Although I have done plenty of logo designs over the years. They come in bunches. So as soon as I finish this one, I'll probably get a request from somebody else. We're going to do a boat logo. I'm going to do the lettering separately, but I'm going to start just by loosening up. I've got to draw mahi. I've got to draw mahi chasing a fishing lure. So first things first, I need to get the spatial parameters set and the size of the items set. Although I imagine if I was a fishing lure and I was leaping out of the water, I might have less wiggling going on. Less, not more. This is just a loosening up. So I'm a big fish. I'm a big fish. This lure is too big. But what I can do is in Photoshop or Procreate, I'll shrink this down. The important thing is here that I get the mouth right for the fish and I'm already running out of room. It's just the same old, my same old problem that I always have is trying to somehow stay on the paper. It's like, the paper's not big enough. I guess I better go. Well, I could go, maybe I am on the wrong size paper. I've got plenty of 18 by 24 sheets left. I don't think I have any down here, though. No, I don't. Well, we'll try it small first for the loosening up, and then we'll try. Then we'll try something bigger. Or maybe maybe, baby. Maybe. We'll try something completely different, which is to do just the lore, right? Damn it. What are you doing over there, Gemma? Are you messing me up? Hmm? I see you spying on me, Gemma. You are? What are you doing over there? Gemma is usually right here on me, but I kicked her off the board a couple times recently. She didn't like that. Not in a hurtful way. I mean, hurt her feelings, you know. But she has actually impacted some of the things I've been trying to do here adversely. I don't like to punish any creature for just kind of doing what it, you know, for being natural, for being itself. Humans, we're different because we have this thing called morality that, well, it's really an inhibitor, isn't it? You know, but checks and balances, you know. So these lures, the Black Bart lure, they start out from the head a little bit skinny, and then they fatten up, and then they taper back down again. This will be super small when it's finally, so I'm drawing this quite large. The fun part will be the coloring, because I'm just planning on doing a graphic design for both the lure and the fish, a mahi. That'll be fun, writing a song for this one. But the colors will be in Procreate, and I'll use some of my beat tones. That one's pretty good. I know I've got a brand new one here somewhere. There she is. Brand new, never been used. Never been used or abused. It's a beautiful thing. So because this is going to be shrunken down so small, I'm okay with using a pretty big tip Sharpie here, or imitation Sharpie. So trying to draw, always trying to draw something that's, supposed to be realistic versus the cartoon isn't that much different. You're still just going for basic shapes. Lines, basic shapes. What, whoa, Waggy? Okay. This will be the tough part. Drawing a relatively perfect circle. Close enough. The trick was, well, I had one little breach right there where the ink bled, but I can fix that in Procreate. I'll take the eraser tool in Procreate and make many sins disappear. Many sins. Oh my God. I'm always amazed when I meet people who profess to have no skills at drawing. And they're always amazed when an artist, quote unquote artist, can actually like draw a straight line or a circle. And I'm not nearly as proficient as those who do it on a daily basis for a living. I've seen videos of guys that can draw like perfect circles, like perfect circles. Look at this girl. What was I talking about, Gemma? Did I not talk about you destroying things and sabotaging enough? And you want to back over it with your sharp claws? Huh? You want to back over it with your sharp claws, don't you? Hmm? Give me a break, kid. Give me a break. Gemma. It's even worse when I'm using dip ink. See that? Look. Everything was going great, and then Gemma. See, this is a line that I wanted to do in one long sweep, and now it's done in 3 sections, and it screws me up. Come on, off. Whew. Saved it, but that was a lot more energy than just doing it all in one shot, trust me. Okay. It's very Zen-like to get in sort of a groove with just making some repetitive marks that aren't identical. So there's a little variation on the theme of laying down some semi-jagged lines, whatever you want to call these. I think the rest for this one can be done in color. So you don't want to go too overboard with things that there's all kinds of translucent colors in this head. And I can take and turn some of these black lines, I can turn them into different colors once I get to the coloring phase. But I think as far as the lure goes, I'm pretty happy with this because I know how small it's going to be shrunken down. I mean, this is much smaller than it will actually appear on the boat. I imagine on the boat it might be 5 to 6 inches long, and this is, well, it's 12 by 18 paper. So it looks like this is at least 16 and a half inches long if I had to take a guess. All right, 16 and 5/8. I mean, you talked me into it. Let's see. Now I'm curious. Now I am curious. What did I say? 16 and 5/8? Oh, no, I forgot. I'm on a diagonal. So the actual lure is going to be like 18 inches. But yeah, it'll be shrunk down to about 1/3 of its current size. And the fish will be a behemoth by comparison, I imagine. I mean, we'll have to play around. You know, I had my brother send me a picture of the back of the boat. So I'll be able to just kind of do a placement, you know, Photoshop it in to see how it's going to look and resize it. And then that'll give an idea of how big to have it printed as a vinyl sticker when we send it off to the printer. So the black bart lure, you know, it's like a skirted lure, but because, you know, you got to make it realistic. So because if you were looking at a website where they sell this, you're going to see a flayed skirt. The skirt, you know, this portion here is going to be splayed out like fingers on a hand. But realistically, if this lure is jumping out of the water, it's going to be tapering and streamlined. So that's why I have all the filaments of the skirt tapering together here in a cluster. And, you know, when I do the final colorized version, there will be some water maybe splashing as well, either below the fish or maybe a little bit of water surrounding the lure, as you know, the lure area as the mouth is about to consume it. I don't know. We'll have to play around. But I think it would be cool if this overall logo is printed lower on the boat than higher, because then if you imagine the boat actually sitting in water, it would be cool if it looked like the fish was already partially submerged. So that way against the boat, you know, it actually appears as if a real fish is kind of jumping out right beside the boat. I got a little too close with this here. You know, I didn't take into account that, but I can take this whole line here and kind of shimmy it forward a hair. So I'm not too concerned about that. All right, so that's the lure. Very alluring. And now we'll see if we can't do a fishy fish. I feel less confident going into this than I did going into the lure. Don't know why, but that's the case. So, pencil of choice. Hey, well, look who's here to wreak havoc. My little saboteur back again, round 3. Huh? With her claws. Would you go use the litter box so now you can get some poop on the paper too? Poopy paper. Entering the 4th dimension. Some people are 2D artists, others are 3D artists. Well, I'm adding stink to the equation, so Smell-o-vision? What places television? That episode where Elmer Fudd goes. Never gets old. Never gets old because it's from the future. Come on. You're just going to sit there and wait for your moment to pounce, aren't you? Huh? Chama. All right, so the mahi is a very strange kind of a fish. It really, in some ways, reminds me of a Jack Kirby character because you've got these creases. If you look at, you can tell that Kirby must have had a lot of cool reference books in his library, his personal library, because when he was doing his 1950s, late 50s Atomic Age Atlas period monster comics, he always did these like fish-like lips and scales and stuff. Oh boy, oh boy. Every once in a while, I'll have this weird thing happen where when I'm thinking of something, right? Like I was just thinking of science class, or it was called, what was it called? Biology? Anyway, whatever the class was where we dissected creatures. I was just kind of thinking about that, how we used to dissect frogs and stuff. And right around that thought, I had like this, I caught a faint whiff of like formaldehyde. Really weird. Okay, let me get the basic shape down because I think I could get lost in the minutiae, and that's been a problem of mine. I think if we foreshorten, then we could get away with actually squeezing this fish onto one piece of paper. Or we could, oh Lord, that didn't come out the way I wanted it. I sharked instead of sharded. That fart had teeth, jaws. I wish I could fart the theme song to Jaws. That would be a major accomplishment. Dun, dun. Okay. I don't know. This is looking more like a whale, so I'm probably going to have to use 18 by 24 paper. But again, I'm loosening up here. Loosening up. Loosening up. I do like the some of the lines of motion that are possible with a design like this. You know, if you look at some of the classic hockey jersey shirt designs or logo designs, there's some pretty cool stuff out there. Those guys know what they're doing. They probably do it so much. The potentially fun part of this will be the coloring, although I do see there being certain challenges to the coloring of getting sort of obsessive compulsive with best to keep it simple. They've got these like jowls almost, which are pretty cool. What's also funny is I just caught a whiff of a fish, but that's because I haven't showered yet, and today I also was doing some gardening, and I broke up some sardines. I also broke up some nasty ass chicken that had been in my freezer for over a year that a buddy of mine from the restaurant gave me, and he moved. I know it's been there over a year because we were doing a movie night every week for a couple years, and then when he moved, the last time that he came over for movie night, he brought stuff from his fridge that he wasn't going to take with him to his new location, right? And among that stuff was, of course, he's a chef, so he brought me some chicken for the cats. But I noticed that at the time that he brought me that it was already kind of skanky. The chicken was. So looks like a mobster. Mobster fish, not monster fish. Like a little mustache in here. I don't know. But yeah, the chicken was a little bit skanky, so I decided, well, I don't think I'm going to give it to my cats, you know. They're not that desperate, at least they weren't then. They might be now that the economy's headed to Tanksville. Tanks for the memories. That's the Revolution song we'll all be singing when we get run over like Tiananmen Square, except in our nation's capital for protesting. Well, I screwed that up. I should have left it the way it was, but I keep hitting these little imperfections on my actual drawing board. Oh, sure. Blame it on something else. It's the American way. You got to have an excuse. If you do, well, then you find a scapegoat. That's all there is to it. So in direct line with the eye, there's this fin. I want to get the placement right. You can see now, well, I can see now. I can see clearly now that these guys that do these awesome custom paint jobs on stones, you know, they're really directly inspired by aquatic life, which of course is fitting. But I'm seeing now like all these sort of similarities in the textures that are displayed, textures, and also the sort of shimmering qualities, a kind of luminescence. Some of these lines I'm not even going to ink because there'll be color decisions made on the coloring board. Coloring board? Coloring board? What is it? I don't think there is such a thing as a coloring board, is there? So this is like all one tone here. But again, I have to focus on just the lines and then enhance or detract or dehance, whatever. What's the opposite of enhance? So these other sort of lower fins, lower fins. I am so uneducated. It's ridiculous. The lower fins. Well, I know there's dorsal fins, but then what are the other ones called? It's like I'm struggling with words tonight. And Gemma doesn't care because she's just here to sabotage. What a swish. What a swish. See that tail? The lower fins. We're going to stick with that, I think. The problem with drawing a fish for a fisherman is they're going to find all the flaws, which is good, keeps me honest. But they're going to say, oh, that's not accurate. And what is that? And I'm going to say, oh, well, I didn't know. And sorry about your luck because I'm not changing it. Well, I will change it. I'll make corrections because I'm a good brother. Sometimes. Right, Gemma? Gemma knows. One thing I like about animals is they see the real you. They tend to see the real. Yeah, this fin here might need to be a little longer. Just a little bit longer. I think I made it too long. Mm-hmm. It's crazy fins on these guys, man. I'll tell you, if it's hard to really agree with Darwin's idea of evolution. And I'm not saying that, I guess what I'm saying is, okay, so let's say something evolved, right? There are certain design elements in these creatures, especially in how they design their way up. Something like there'll be like version 2.0 with serious improvements, right, over the previous iteration. So when that happens, it's kind of like, wow. I'm just going crazy right now. I think I got to keep it simple and do all the coloring after just the basic line work. Some of these extraneous lines I can do in the coloring process. Kind of like the fishing lure. That's why I think maybe I was a little nervous coming into doing the fish, because the lore turned out so well and such a, I kind of churned that out pretty quickly. Without incident, nobody got hurt. But now I'm struggling here to stay on schedule, under budget, under budget. Ahead of schedule, under budget, always. That was definitely right on budget. That was. That's it. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to have some trouble with the fin in the coloring process, I think. Well, I mean, I don't want to jinx myself. I don't want to project trouble where maybe there won't be any, but I know myself well enough to know that this fin could be tricky. I like that. Okay. Well, this is just a loosening up. So if I don't get it, get it this try, I ain't going to beat myself up over it too much. I'd like to get it first try, but I know Gemma is plotting her revenge for me giving her the boot. So I'm going to pay close attention to her prowlings. I can hear the wolf pack playing upstairs. Darting to and fro. Nice thing about using the iPad and Procreate is I can delete pretty quickly and easily any of these lines if I end up not liking them, and replace them with new lines or no lines, you know. Again, I'd rather have a perfect product, but that's, you know, nigh unto imposterous. Okay. I'll have to fix that. Okay. Well, you got to know when to quit, right? And I think I'm at the point where this is about as much as I want to do in graphic. And I think I went too far by putting this in here, but this one little there's a shadow here, but I'll do the shadow. I'll do those shadows in the coloring phase. There we go. That was better. That was better. Okay. Sticking with the blue eraser just because we're dealing with a fishy fish. Use the yellow eraser when you're drawing bananas, and it is actually wild banana flavor. The pink eraser for drawing pimples that are about to pop. I don't know. I just wanted to be alliterative. Had an issue with connectivity with my scanner the other day. I haven't tried my scanner since that issue, but I just updated the operating system to the latest Mac OS. Perhaps that fixed it. I don't know. I just don't know. If not, I'll just use the iPhone on the highest raw footage setting and use the scanner mode on the iPhone and then import the PDF, which is a larger file size, into Procreate on the iPad, and then I can upscale it or downsize it to my heart's content. I got to rework this lower fin here. I wasn't happy with how that turned out. Too thick of a line, perhaps, but again, color might make everything better. It certainly can't make it worse. And this is just a loose warming up, a loosening up drawing. Nothing's etched in stone. I don't really have an immediate time frame for this design, but I'd like to get it done the next week or so. So my brother has a good chance to get it printed before the printers get overwhelmed with other boat design requests. What are you doing? You're so aggressive. You just want to hop on this paper now. You smell? It's bananas. You smell groovy grape? You want to smell sour apples? There you go. Gemma, you want to smell strawberries? Ooh. Blueberries. Gemma did not live with me in the last place where I lived, but she was spay at my old apartment. And only spent like 3 days with me, which was a day longer than I wanted her to spend with me, but she was hiding and I couldn't find her. And I finally found her and she was starved to death and thirsty. And then I re-released her. She forgave me. And then I continued to feed her for a couple of years until she had an incident and she would have died, but I was able to capture her and get her to the vet. They saved her tail. Could have gone either way. She could be a stub tail right now, but the doctor did a great job, and she had another bite on her butt that had to be sutured up, which took a while to heal, and she didn't have fur on her backside for a while because they had to shave the area. And then I had her in a guest room here until she fully recovered. But she didn't really trust me. Even though I saved her life, that's not something an animal is thinking. It's like all they know is this larger than I am creature captured me, took me to a horrible place, the vets. They're not thinking, oh, that human saved my life. No, they're just living in the moment of constant fear and uncertainty until they finally start to become like a what's the hostage the relationship that a hostage has with their abductor. Yeah, that term. And now she's, this is her way of getting back at me, is since I abducted her and have had her in captivity since 2020. Stockholm syndrome. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. So, I got the fish to fit on the page because my first attempt was much larger, and I was going with a sort of a, what do you call it, Kirby-esque foreshortening situation. But this is less of a foreshortening. You can always create foreshortening in Photoshop or Procreate by using the distort, grabbing the four corners of your image and distorting them to your heart's content or warping them. But I like the way this lure turned out, with the exception of this one line being too close to the eye. The Black Bart lure turned out pretty cool. And the fish is okay. So we'll see. I'll give it a go, and if they turn out okay in color, if I can pull it off. If not, then it's, what do they say? Back to the drawing board. Or if you're into pop music from the 1990s, back to reality. Okay. Gemma, get your butt over here, you stinker. Gosh, what a troublemaker. Holy cow. Look at those eyes. Gemma, did you see this here? Oh, did you see that? Birdie feathers. Gemma. Okay. You tormented me enough, didn't you? Didn't you? You ready to call quits, huh? You ready to cut me a break? Gemma, you gonna cut me a break? Woo! All right, Star Commander, let's see if we can shoot the gap. Where's the, here it is. There she is. Just what we wanted to see. Gemma for all of eternity tormenting me. Actually, that sounds not too bad. There's a lot of other places I could end up that would be worse than that. All right, let's knock it off and end this. I was actually trying to click on this one here, but it's the front one here, okay? So voila. End stream.